We now have breaking news.
The most respected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman.
What is sisterhood? It's an important element of women's empowerment. It is a bond that is formed between women that allows them to offer support and guidance to one another, where women are able to share their experiences and support one another with strength and courage, and without judgment. However, this bond is not always easy to come by, especially for Black women, who are often placed in scenarios that promote conflict within. Society is full of harmful stereotypes that shape the way Black women are seen in the world and damage our relationships with others and each other. In this mini-series, you will join me and Keisha as we welcome together an incredible group of women to tackle these stereotypes head-on and highlight the importance of authentic sisterhood for Black women. Join us as we welcome Dani, the host of My Survivor Voice podcast, and Marlo, the woke therapist, to share their insights and experiences. Some good, some bad, but all unscripted. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the third episode of Unscripted. We have been getting a lot of feedback from our second episode. It's not a competition episode. And I'm so excited right now. Hold on one second. Okay. Sorry. I had to pause that cough out. I'm so excited right now because we're getting people having a conversation about the passport bros. I've had people contacting me saying they didn't even know what the heck that was. And I just educated them on some stuff. Absolutely about how the black male complex, or the black male worship complex term that we used, that we were getting some feedback about that. And a lot of gentlemen were like, look, we want to have a conversation with y'all. So I said, okay. They said they got questions. And I said, that's why we're doing this. So when we do, I have the live episode when we have the exit wounds men with all of us together on that live episode. Everybody who's been hitting us up saying they have questions, they want to have their 2 cents heard, that will be your time. That will be your opportunity. And we definitely welcome it. But today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. Could still be a little bit triggering, but that's good, right? Because conflict creates change, and that's what we're here for. And it's really focusing on the topic that we hear a lot in our community about Black females, women of color being overly masculine. You can't find a man because you act like a man. You want to be the man. So what are we supposed to do if you want to be the man? Yeah, we about to talk about it. We are about to talk about it. And that's why I call it, just because I can doesn't mean I want to. And I really even have some TikToks about things that I'm doing. Yes, I can do it, but that it doesn't mean I want to do it. So before we jump into this topic, we're going to go around the room. I'm so excited to have special guests this evening to talk about this very conversational piece, but I'm going to let them introduce themselves, their platform, and why they feel this topic is a really necessary starter to get this conversation going. So I'm handing on over to the beautiful, beautiful host of SheWolf Alchemy Podcast.
Hello, thank you. Hopefully Rex can join us as well and not leave this up to me to do. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just my name is Raz. I am a therapist and I am a co-host of podcast SheWolf Alchemy, also the podcast The Overlooked. And yeah, this is such an important conversation for many reasons. I feel like, Ashley, you definitely going to say this, and I'm going to say it before you do. But I, as a therapist, I work with a lot of women of color who have grown up with this mindset of I have to do it all. I can't rely on anybody else to do it, so I have to do it. And what we are seeing is exhaustion. We are seeing people just being over it at 28, at 25. And I think it's such an important topic because it's, at least I know in my work, sometimes when I bring up the idea of rest, I speak to a lot of young women who are almost, you can see them just shrink. What do you mean rest? We team no sleep. This is hustle culture. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it all, and learning the beauty and not having to do it all, and letting go and releasing.
Absolutely. And it's so awesome that you are also bringing in that mental health piece. This is just a hell damn support group therapy. We cover mental health all across the board, right? So, but exactly what you said. And the funny thing is, and then I'm gonna let Ashley introduce herself because I just jumped right in. But you said some trigger words, and one of them being rest. Like when I had COVID, I was told to rest, and this is no joke. I literally had to search what is rest, because just laying on the sofa wasn't it. Like I'm like, is this resting? I'm not moving. I'm not moving. So this must be resting. But my mind was going 50 miles per hour. Right. And it's like, I don't think I even know what it means to rest. So I'm glad you brought that up because we can really dive deep into that element too. But I'm going to hand that mic to Ashley. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I just got excited when I heard that word.
That's all right. This is your world. So, hey, I'm Ashley, and I am co-host of SheWolf Alchemy, and I'm also the host of Parents Are People, different podcasts. What am I saying? Oh, this topic. Yes. So, no, I think this is like a really important topic because I don't know, just adding more layers and context to it, just from the idea of like, oh, like kind of what you were saying of, oh, you know, Black women are masculine, blah, 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 but really getting into the like, what we actually need and use our masculine energy for versus like our feminine energy and what it's like to try to live in balance of that. I know for myself as someone who has dealt with having a lot of hyper independence and things of that nature, but who else was going to do it, you know? And so that just kind of is what it is, you know. I don't, and I think hearing that narrative of like, oh, you're too strong and you got to make space for a man and all those things, it's always kind of bothered me because it made me feel like I had to be smaller in order to make space for someone else. And I don't know. And now I'm entering into the phase of like, how can I dabble more in these other types of energy and really not even be worried about what somebody else has going on or what they're bringing or not bringing into the situation, and just kind of balancing that out for me.
Absolutely. And you said so much in that aspect, especially the whole, why do I have to make myself less than? Why do I have to make myself smaller? Why is that seen as a threat? Why is that seen as a threat? So Dani, let's talk about it. You know, everybody, you know, pretty much you're a regular, like,
Yeah.
You're just gonna throw you under that umbrella with us. Why do you feel this is such an important topic?
So I think Ashley hit the nail on the head. So my word for this year is balance. And I think balance is key. So I think I'm a little bit different in that I am okay with us as women being seen as masculine when we don't have that person to fall back on. I'm okay with people thinking we're quote unquote doing too much because I'm of the mindset of, if that's your thought process and that's what you think about me, well, show me how to change this. Give me a reason to change it. And without it, I'm going to keep doing me until you give me that reason. Like y'all know, I've said this many times. I'm a daddy's girl. I know how to change a tire. I have had to change tires for myself. Just because I was able to didn't mean I wanted to, but I wasn't going to sit on the side of the road and wait on my superhero. But now that I'm in a place where I don't have to change my own tire, I do appreciate that. But again, my husband will tell you, I'm gonna ask you one time, I'm gonna go get it done. And I'm okay with being in that place. Whereas I know a lot of people a lot of women, they feel like they have to do that. I'm just that person that I'm okay with doing it. I know I don't have to. I know that, it'll eventually get done, but I'm okay with doing it. But I also know how to balance that as well. So yeah, I can cut the grass. And there are times that I will go outside and cut the grass. But there are also times where I'm like, okay, I'm too tired. It's gonna wait till he gets to it because I'm not doing it today. So it's just all about balance to me. And I think that once we get that and understand that there are people out there who will take that load off of you where you don't have to do it all, it'll get better. But until you get that, you won't see it. It's like you have to be able to actually experience that until before you're able to, feel that.
This is gonna be fire tonight. What? This is gonna be fire. Keisha, come on. What you got?
Well, hey, I just totally agree with what everybody already said, before me. And, you just have to ask yourself a question. How did we get here? How did we get to the point of being this superwoman without cape on and, being labeled as masculine? Something had to happen for us to get there. What happened? We didn't have the support. We didn't have that male figure or that backbone piece, whether it was from our fathers or from our mates, or, to step in and do what we need, the help, the assistance that we need. So we will stand up. That's how we're built. We're women. If something is lacking, we automatically step in. We're the nurturers, we're the helpers, and that's what we do. So it's unfortunate because, like many women, and I fall into this category too, I've been labeled as being a masculine person, but I have no choice. If I don't step in and make it happen, who's going to do it? So, I think men really need to take that in consideration. Okay, understand why the woman operate in the role that she does. Stop and ask question. Ma'am, do you like what you do? Ask me. No, I don't like it. I don't want to carry the load by myself. I don't. But I have to, at least for now. So I just think we really need to see how do we, it's important to see how we got where we got. How do we got where we're at now? Understand it before you start knocking it and name calling and, oh, you're too tough. No man want to deal with you because you're too masculine. Understand why. And how can you change that for her? How can you lighten her load so that she'll feel comfortable and sitting back and letting you lead? So.
Amen. And I feel like we in church. What? And I'll admit it. Back in the day, I was that chick. I don't need no man. I can do it. Like, I was that chick. A lot of it came from seeing my mom hustle so hard. She was a single mom, and I saw her have to do everything. I saw it. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I got to do it too. So I was in that mindset of, I don't need no man. I can do it. And then I realized how exhausted I was. And someone said, you're exhausted because you're operating in an energy you're never meant to be in. And that blew my mind, because I was like, when you have those light bulb moments and you're never the same after you get that information. And I was like, you're right. When you're operating in energy you're not supposed to be in, it's going to be exhausting. When you're carrying everything, it's going to be exhausting. But also, when you are a single parent, you don't have anybody else carrying it for you. But then I was carrying this masculine energy because I have to, right? Like changing the tire. Yeah, I can change my tire. I've had to do it multiple times. Do I want to? No. No. But I do it. And it looks like sometimes people go, well, you got it under control. What you need me for? I need you, Black man. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello. We do need you. We're doing all of these things because you're not stepping up. You're not stepping in. You watch from the sidelines and you're telling us, oh, you're too masculine. Oh, you're this, that. We don't have a choice, because if we're not in that space, nothing's going to get done. So my challenge happened when I bumped into a man. He was very masculine, and there was another eye opener. He said, we're never going to work. And I was like, why? He said, because there can't be two men in the relationship. And I was like, what? But then when I looked at how I was carrying the energy in the relationship, he was right. I was doing the same thing he was doing. And I'm like, okay, I guess I see where your point is. But what also happens is when I bumped into that much masculinity, I automatically fell into a submissive role. Now, a lot of people are triggered by that term, submission. I'm not talking about, I don't want to give power to the negative connotation of that word. I'm not talking about submission as in like in a slave role, okay? I'm talking about feeling safe enough to, like Keisha said, let him lead, because I knew he was going to lead. So I could fall back into soft Michelle. And not, there's a lot, no, hardly anybody gets to see that because we're so protected. We have to protect ourselves, right? You have to earn the right to see our femininity. So with that statement alone, I'm gonna throw it back to you all. You have to earn the right to see our femininity. And when you hear that, what does that say to you? How does that sit with you? Or how would you be able to explain that to somebody who was like, what does that even mean? If a male said, what do you mean I have to earn the right to see your femininity? What would you say to them?
Honestly, to me, that's self-explanatory. Just like I said, you have to show me that I can be that vulnerable with you. Show me that I can open up and be that, soft person for you. Until I get that, until I've seen you show me that, I don't have to worry about, the what ifs and is this going to go right or is this going to get done, because I'm able to count on you. Until I see that, you're going to get what you get out of me. And it may be the hard me. Sorry. It may be the part of me that you deem masculine. Sorry, not sorry. And the reason for that is because who wants to be let down and broken over and over and over again? Not me. After you've experienced so much heartache, you do build a hard shell. Like everything I need you to do, I end up having to do myself. So now I know I can't count on you. So this is what you're going to get until you're able to show me that I don't have to be that person with you.
I'm telling you, this feels like church.
I
feel like I need to stand up right now.
Be consistent as well as accountability. Once you show me you can be consistent and accountable, then yes, I would personally feel okay with showing my vulnerable side. But you have to welcome that. And don't welcome it just to get what you want. Some guys play the role as an, oh, I'm going to show her this and that because my whole end game is I'm trying to score. Then once that happened, then, okay, boom, you're back to, or you showing me another side of you. You didn't initially show me in the beginning. In the beginning, you showed me you was this considerate person, being accountable, being consistent. And then now you falling back to somebody that I don't even know. So.
And what about you two ladies, Ashley and Ress? What do you all feel of when somebody says that? Like, and not even what does it mean when someone says you have to earn the right to access my femininity? What does that look like? What would that look like?
I get also what everyone else is saying of like, if you're in the presence of true masculine energy where you feel safe and protected, then you have the ability to step into those softer, more vulnerable spaces. But then I also, like earlier when I was mentioning balance, I was thinking about how, like, I guess trying to balance that on our own without having to be as impacted by some of the other energies around us. Because I know me as an individual, as a single woman, I wasn't spending a lot of time in my feminine energy because, okay, maybe it was due to the less masculine types of energy that I was around, or maybe it was due to my own hyper independence and not just allowing myself the comfort of that and like creating a safe space for myself to be able to be in my femininity so that it's not so uncomfortable for me. And I also think like if either, I feel like both men and women are supposed to spend time between both of these energies. There's times and place for these things. And if either one of us spends too much time in one or the other, I think that's not great. So I keep thinking more so about the balance of it, of like, but how can I have that regardless of what's happened? Because I still deserve to get to be soft and have vulnerability and things like that in my life.
So that gave me chills. That gave me chills. And I kind of want to go a little bit deeper into where you said I deserve to be able to be soft with or without a man. That speaks volumes. What and when you say that, what does that look like for you? When you're in that soft space, what does that look like for you?
Sometimes it's creating that safe space, right? Like I've created a peaceful environment for myself. I've cultivated good friendships that I know I can be vulnerable in. I do self-care, I indulge in my self-care practices and things that are just specific and private, even for me. But setting that up, I use, it's like I feel like I use my masculine energy to be, Miss Boss chick that got the house and the job and the security. And then that creates a space for me to lay my head on my soft, fluffy pillows and, get all in my feelings and cry at movies or whatever else it is that I want to do. It's just that, but also protecting that energy. That's me using, again, stepping back into that masculine energy of protecting this space, who I allow in this space, what goes on here, all of those things, because this is my space to be vulnerable. And I want, when I have a partner, I want him to share that soft space with me as well, because I want that to be a safe space for him too. And I think, if we're talking about who is the master of which energy, I think that's me mastering my feminine energy, is being able to provide that space as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, kind of going back to what Ashley was saying, I think for me right now is just the balance of being okay with being vulnerable in general, with men, with myself, with female company. I think being vulnerable in general for me was always a hard thing. And it's been a lifelong lesson of how to just feel comfortable in that in general. I'm thinking back even with close friends, like there is times me and Ashley actually joke about it all the time that like for the last 2 years, I've been having certain things happen. And I just say, certain things are happening. And she go, okay, Russ, whatever. Like, because she knows, like, I'm not about to get into it. And that has to do with, just that ability to feel safe outside yourself with others. And so if a man in particular coming to me and saying, well, let down your walls and what I got to do to see the more feminine side, it's like, uh, that's a process for everybody with me. And it's something I'm trying to heal all around. Because I do want to be able to feel vulnerable and be able to feel safe in that. And one of the things I have been working on myself is the ability to have that bounce back and that resiliency of it's okay to be vulnerable, because guess what? If something comes to you, you know how to bounce back. You're resilient. So there is nothing to fear in your vulnerability, because it won't crush you, it won't kill you, it won't knock you down to the point you can't get back up. You'll be able to take that L, eat it, and be like, okay, and come back up and still be able to be soft and not let that harden you.
That's beautiful. Just like you said, it is a challenge to be vulnerable with men and women. And I've been very blessed, and I'm just going to call Keisha out. She's probably one of the most one of the most important people in my life who have allowed me to have emotion. Because she'll tell you, like, I automatically say, I just wish I was a robot. I can turn this stuff off and go into robot mode. And she's like, no, it's okay. And if you feel like crying, that's okay too. Because I was brought that, no, that's not. And so she'll allow me to do that. She will allow me to cry. And it's not a situation of, why are you crying? What's wrong with you? Da, 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 da. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you'll have that energy too. I have people in my family. I wish you would start crying around them. You're going to be called everything in the book. So then you learn it's not okay. And even growing up, depending on what you're shedding tears for, you'll learn it's not okay. So once you become an adult, you're like, I'm feeling this, but I don't know what to do with it. So we either push it down like it's not there. And we already know, especially since most of us deal with these mental health issues and social services, behavior is going to come out one way or the other. Behaviors are an expression of what's going on. So you can push it down all you want to. It's going to show up some way. It can show up in your health, your sleeping issues, or just spazzing out one day, but it will come to the surface. So being allowed to feel safe enough for somebody to see me at my lowest moment, it lets that release come off. And like you all were saying, like being able to offer that softness to somebody else, that's a special thing.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah, that really is beautiful. I'm not there yet. I don't find myself being vulnerable with male or female. Um, that's something I really struggle with. And Michelle, it hit me when you said, yeah, because in my family, like we have a dark sense of humor. We laugh at everything. So there are things that I want to cry about, and my sister's gonna crack a joke, and I'm like, okay, suck it up, because they're gonna
Yep.
talk about you, and then I'm gonna, shut it down. And I'm wondering now, hearing y'all talk, because that is so beautiful to be able to have that with anybody. Outside of my husband, there is really nobody that I'm able to be vulnerable with. And so I do have a hard exterior sometimes. And so it makes me wonder, do the women that are in my life, do they feel slighted, or like they don't fully know me when I'm not sharing? Because like Rest said, like, oh, certain things are happening, that's me, like, oh, it's just a lot going on. And I could be falling apart
Aw.
internally, but I just like, oh no, I'm good, it's a lot going on, that's all. And then I'm one of those people who will go MIA for a while until I get it together, and then I'm back and everything's great. um So yeah, that I guess I do need to find a way to hold space for my feminine energy outside of my, romantic relationship.
And it's hard. It took a minute.
Definitely.
I didn't just go to Keisha one day and start boohooing. Like, I think it was a situation of so much stuff was on me to the point I was breaking,
Right.
because I'm good. I'm good. And okay, Keisha's a therapist, so she knows she knows me. Like, we've known each other going past 10 years. So she knows when I'm not good, just like I know when she's not good. She also knows when I'm an introvert, so she knows when, okay, give her some time, but I'm still going to check on you. And when I know she's going through something, I know you're going through something, but I'm gonna still send a SOS. Hey, you good over there? Hey, is everything okay? But not to be overbearing. And that's important. So Dani, when you say that, like, I just want to give you a hug, because it's life-changing when you have somebody where you can go to this level of vulnerability and show that femininity, and you're not going to get laughed at
Right.
or called
judged.
names.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's important to have everybody needs somebody in their life that they can show their vulnerability to. They do. I think everybody needs somebody. Definitely for that, even if it's not their mate. It's just healthy. It's mentally, physically, it all ties in. It's healthy to have somebody that you can show that to.
And it's
So,
important for our own and just the whole point of having this mini series is taking care of one another.
mhm.
Care of one another. But my another question for you all, as we get close to our time, if you are in a relationship, or you are in the space of getting to know somebody, a potential mate, and they do bring up where they're seeing some, because I mean, that's a part of getting to know you, right? That's a part of getting to know who you are. How does one, or even if you're already in a relationship and somebody comes up to you and says, this is really going well, but they're saying, or they're noticing some masculine tendencies in me, and I don't know what to do about that, because I don't know how to turn it off. Because my issue was turning it off, because I have a high position at work. I am a single mom. All those things require masculine roles. But then when I get with him, I have to turn it off. And that's not easy. So what would be some suggestions about turning that off? Or not, I don't want to say turn it off, y'all. Balancing out with your potential mate who's noticing this and having concerns with it.
Well, I would say first understanding that no little girl growing up to be a woman grows up with, no one is born just being masculine. These women who are straight women are not born being masculine. And I hope all men listen to this. Something happened to get us to that point. Whether it was environmental, whether it was learned behavior, something happened to get us there. So once you got to that point as a woman, when you, even if you're just doing it for yourself, before meeting your mate or even after meeting your mate, it's like deprogram yourself. So I think it's important, when you have that, your mate, if they bring it up to you to say, hey, I'm noticing some things, that's good. Don't take offense to it, but it's up to us to, adjust, like, okay. And as we feel comfortable, we should step back and let the man lead. But if somebody brings it to your attention, I say, take it, make the adjustments, and explain to them, this is some work in progress for me. Even if you don't want to go in as deep in the depths of how you got there, just be open and honest with them, and thank them for bringing it to your attention.
And how about you, Ashley and Russ? What would your kind of support for somebody who is having that concern or problematic issue going on?
Yeah, definitely. Like she said, I think we first got to start with the process of unlearning. The process of unlearning, like, this is the only way, this is the safest way. And a big part of that unlearning is asking yourself, why? Why do I feel the need to automatically step into this energy? Why do I feel the need to protect myself? Even with simple tasks of just like, oh, trust that I'm going to get the right dinner for us. Trust that I'm saying that I'm going to do this and I'm going to follow through, and not feel the need, like, you know what, it's okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to handle it. I'm not even trying to deal with that. What is at the root of that? What is that fear? Is it disappointment? Is it, if I let my wall down, you just going to disappoint me? You just going to, what is at the root of that? And then I think after that, just learning how to be present and getting off autopilot. Because I think for a lot of it is a matter of being on autopilot. This is just how I function without even thinking about it. It's not me coming in saying, I'm going to be tough, I'm going to be rough, I'm going to hold this wall up. This is how I have been programmed for a lot of us since childhood. And a big part of that unlearning process is being present and recognizing, okay, what am I actually doing? Sitting with your feelings. I know I say that all the time, but sitting with your feelings is so important, because a lot of times, again, when we have partners or whoever come and say, okay, but why? We don't have an answer. We're like, well, I don't. And to me, that is a sign we are on autopilot. That is a sign that this is just what I do unconsciously. And I don't even recognize the benefit, because this is just how I am programmed. For me, I know meditation has been a big help in me getting off autopilot. And then doing the elementary work of really asking myself, when I feel myself saying, okay, I got to do this, I got to da da da, and I'm getting stressed and I'm getting frustrated, asking myself, okay, why? Why do you have to do that? What are you really getting out of this? What are we really fearing in all of this? And then I think also start practicing the art of letting go in your everyday life. I think it's very hard. I think we try to selectively decide in what areas. Like, okay, I'm going to be softer. I think you mentioned that here. I'm going to be softer here, but I'm going to be harder here. I think learning how to practice the art of letting go in other areas is going to be a big help on learning how to let go and let someone else take control, or let somebody else lead, let somebody else help in relationships as well.
I think after you do all that stuff and you have the self-awareness, also, like, when you're doing that assessment, someone brings that to you and you notice that, one, you function out of autopilot, maybe something triggered that. Maybe there is something going on in the situation that needs to be different in order to allow you to rest and put down that guard. So having the awareness of kind of maybe what triggers you into that state, to be able to talk to that person about that. They're just coming to say, hey, you're stepping into some masculine ways. Okay, is he being consistent? Is Do you feel secure here? What are the things that are making you feel insecure in this situation? And maybe you can ask that those things be changed or different or adjusted or whatever it is, because I have no problem taking feedback, and I also have no problem asking for what I need and saying like, yes, thank you for noticing. I get that way when A, B, and C is happening. Can you please, do a little bit more of X, Y, and Z? And so I think that's important too, is when you have that awareness, being able to communicate it and communicate your needs so that y'all can work together on that.
Absolutely. And Dani, why don't you bring us home? Bring it in.
So Ashley was reading my mind as everybody was talking, because I was like, okay, but where's the balance in that? So I'm going to make all the adjustments. Okay, this masculine energy may be, too much for you. First question is, do I want to eliminate this masculine energy? Do I want to be this feminine with you? If I do, what's holding me back from that? Okay, so let's both make adjustments. You adjust this, it's going to help me adjust this. So yeah, I think Ashley and I were thinking the same thing. Like, all of that is great, but I don't want to be the only person making adjustments to make you comfortable. I need you to make some adjustments to make me comfortable, to be able to release that feminine energy.
You're absolutely right. And it's a team, right? It's teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
There you go. Maybe my masculine energy is spiking up because maybe you're dipping a little bit into that feminine space, and I'm like, I'm not safe. And for me, safety is paramount. If I don't have the safety, nothing else will follow. Nothing. You'll get the surface level sarcasm. That's my ultimate defense, is sarcasm. But what I want to say about this conversation was beautiful. It was an expression of that vulnerability, because everybody on here showed it. Even if you didn't think you did, everybody showed it. And it was so healing, this small amount of time, because I think everybody had a realization moment. Like, I didn't think of it that way. Or and that's what community is about. That's what sisterhood's about. I see you struggling in this area. Let me help you with that load, right? I see you having a concern here. And even though I know you're saying I'm good, I'm fine, I see that you're not. So now when I reach out and I hear I'm fine, I'm good, I'm going to say, are you sure? And even if you don't tell what it is, we all need to know that we can support each other. I had a horrendous case last month, horrible. And Dani was there. Keisha was there. I had to support a mom who lost all 3 of her kids. And people don't understand, when you work in trauma, you are in the trauma. You can't go to somebody, giving them an umbrella, and don't think you're not going to get wet. And when you're a mom and you see a mom who's hurting to that level, it hurts. It hurts. And the only thing I knew what to do other than shut down is reach out to people I knew who understood and knew that just silent holding space for me, holding space for that mom, that's what it's all about. So with that being said, I want to thank so much our sisters from SheWolf Alchemy Podcast who came and shared their beautiful supporting information and shared their vulnerability with us. It really helped balance the conversation and make it where this was a soft conversation. Like, I really enjoyed it. And of course, Dani and Keisha, my 2 co-pilots here. But before we sign off, why don't you all let everybody know where to find you, any projects or anything you got going on all of your podcasts, so we can definitely keep in touch and keep people coming over and experiencing your awesomeness as well.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting us. We are a huge fan of you guys. We're a huge fan of Dani. We're such a huge fan of Dani. So anything she puts out, I'm like, okay, well, let's go check it out. And so we were so excited when you guys invited us on. You guys can follow us on Instagram at SheWolf Alchemy, the same with TikTok. You can find our podcast anywhere that podcasts are played. And again, that's just That's just SheWolf Alchemy Podcast. Again, we are on there talking about personal growth and development and the transitions that we are making through life and trying to talk about it. Yes, we're going to put some mental health in there, try to give you some knowledge, but also we want to make it feel like you're talking to one of your girlfriends. We want to make it feel like it is a regular conversation where it's not just so, okay, all these buzzwords. Like, no, let's put some relatability on it. Also, Ashley has a podcast. It's called Parents Are People's amazing podcast. It's for parents or people who have had parents, people who were children, where she talks to different parents and talks to them about their experiencing parenting and their experiencing also as a child and the things that they wished their parents had did and how it affected them. I also have another podcast, the Overlook Podcast, where I talk about cases, little known cases that you usually don't hear covered in the news, on podcasts, or wherever, of people of color who are missing or who have been murdered, and they didn't receive the fanfare, they didn't get the news clips, they didn't get the their names being a hashtag and spread, and just spreading awareness so we can know about these cases, and if we have information to help the families, getting you guys those lines to call, who to contact, so hopefully we can bring some more of our brothers and sisters home.
That's beautiful. And I'll definitely have the links to everybody's podcast in the pod description. So you all can definitely check that out. And Dani, go ahead and do your drill.
So, of course, you can follow my advocacy page, y'all. I'm veering away from saying it's a podcast page because I'm gearing more towards advocacy by the end of the year. So it will still be at My Survivor Voice on Instagram. And of course, my nonprofit is at Our 3 Inc. Our 3 has some exciting things coming up. We just started a partnership with I Survived out of Canada, who will be donating portions of their proceeds to R3 to help us fund continuing the work that we're doing. And also R3 is gearing up for their Survivor of the Year event coming soon this fall. So that's about it. Nothing different on my end, just continuing to try to be the change I want to see.
And saving lives.
Trying.
Let's not be too humble now. Come on. Come on now. Let's give you some flowers. And Keisha.
Well, you can find me at the Looking Glass podcast as well as Center of Hope Youth Advocacy. I am a licensed therapist. Also have a women empowerment group that's entitled Women Break. So you can find me there too. Instagram, Facebook.
All the things. I'm trying to push her more to TikTok. I'm trying. I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
TikTok. I'm trying.
And you might as well. And if you want some sarcasm, some really horrible humor, you can find me over on TikTok at Michelle in Wonderland, because I haven't. It's my therapy. Filter videos are my therapy. But thank you all so much for listening. And if you've made it to episode of Unscripted, I feel you're committed, and I appreciate that. Allowing us to share our concerns as an honest as we can and scripted is really important. And to know that people are listening and the feedback we're getting speaks to me in a way that people are listening to us, because sometimes it really, really feels like we're not being heard. So thank you. So that being said, we're signing off. And as I say always, you guys take care, stay safe, and be well.